Sligo.
Wicklow's qualifier form in Ockram has been impressive in recent years. They've won 6 of their last 7 backdoor games at this venue. So Sligo, without a backdoor victory since 2009 and still nursing morale after their Connaught Championship defeat to Galway, looked vulnerable. But they started with purpose. James Hines was a late addition to the starting 15 and he marked his introduction with an excellent score. Sligo followed that up with some fine long-range points, including this effort from former All-Star Charlie Harrison. It took Wicklow a while to get going, but midfielder Anthony McLaughlin was prominent early on and his drive forward paid dividends. And once Wicklow worked out how to get the ball into their full forward Seanie Furlong, more scores followed. This was one of 4 first-half points for the Kiltegan man. But Sligo finished the half the stronger to lead by 8 points to 6, and it would have been more but for Wicklow keeper Robert Lambert, who denied Brian Kern a certain goal. It looked like Wicklow were going to restart with more intensity when James Stafford sent over a long-range effort to get his team going. But as the tension grew, so did the error count at both ends. Scores were few and far between, until Sligo sent on substitute Stephen Cohen. With the aid of the upright, he restored Sligo's 2-point advantage. But almost immediately, another sub, Niall Gaffney, kept Wicklow in the hunt with this effort. However, Wicklow struggled to get the service into Leighton Glynn and Seanie Furlong, and in the closing moments, Sligo showed greater belief, Cohen popping up again to give his side a 12 points to 10 victory.
We had 11 weeks between our game with Galway and our last league match, so like it was a long spell without a championship match. So it's good to get back into that field again, and I think the more we go on with this team, the better they're going to get, and we could be an upset for most teams.
The lads are devastated, and the work fair is hard. We couldn't argue, couldn't ask for any more effort. It's just maybe some of the decision making at different times let them down,
Laois travelled to Wexford Park looking to beat Wexford for the second successive year in the qualifiers, having won by 2 points last year at the same venue. Wexford last beat Laois in the championship some 6 years ago when they won a Leinster semi-final at Croke Park. It was Laois who put the first score on the board. There was only 20-odd seconds on the watch when John O'Loughlin opened the scoring. Wexford, though, settled to their task and responded with points from Paddy Byrne, Kieran Ling, Ben Brosnan, 2 from James Holmes, and even Wexford captain Graham Malloy got in on the act with a fine individual score to help Wexford to a 6 points to 2 lead. But Laois responded with 4 unanswered points of their own from Donald Kingston, O'Loughlin, Ross Munnelly, and this Conor Meredith point from out the field meant the sides were level at 6 points apiece just past the 20th minute mark. The sides traded scores up to the half-time break after that in a very open contest. But it was Laois that took a 1-point advantage to the break when this injury time score by Damien O'Connor gave Laois an 11 points to 10 lead at half-time. An early John O'Loughlin point put Laois 12-10 ahead. But now, with the wind at their backs, Wexford responded with 3 points of their own to retake the lead. 2 from PJ Banville, and this Kieran Ling point, his 4th, gave Wexford the lead again. This 45 from full forward Ben Brosnan gave Wexford a 2-point lead, and with 4 minutes to go, it seemed as if Aidan O'Brien's side were heading through. However, a black card late in the game meant the introduction of MJ Turney, and he changed the course of the game as 2 late frees from the Ballyroan Abbey player levelled the game. Extra time beckoned, but right on the stroke of the 70th minute mark, Laois won it as Niall Donoghue got his 3rd point of the game and a crucial one to give Laois the lead. They played just 1 minute of injury time and Laois emerged the eventual winners on a scoreline. Laois 18 points, Wexford 17 points.
was a lot of points from play, which is very encouraging. From ourselves and from Wexford point of view as well. Has to be a lot of credit due to them. After playing a tough game in Croke Park last week, that they're able to come out here and give a performance like that.
Wexford's summer is now over. Now we're only the beginning of July. What about your own position? Will you stay on as manager? You're trying to get something going with this group of players?
I haven't even obviously thought about anything like that at this point. I mean, obviously everybody's very disappointed coming off that field, having lost by 1 point under the circumstances, having played. We would have felt we played well. Obviously, we do recognise we made some mistakes that contributed to our own downfall. But look at that kind of issue is really not for now.
Dermot, that was heartbreaking for Wexford, given last week as well. But you've got to credit Laois for hanging in.
Yeah, it was a great finish to this game, and I suppose unlike the game against Fermanagh, where they were comfortable enough and they allowed Fermanagh to come at them towards the end, they had to come at Wexford in this particular game, and just proved the importance. They went 2 points down. They brought on a sub. We haven't seen much of MJ Tierney all year. He steps up and hits 2 points, and then for Donaher to get the winner was excellent. But that was Laois's fourth game already this year, so they're going into the draw tomorrow morning, facing a fifth game. They had a comprehensive win against Wicklow. They had a great first half against Dublin, and now they've had 2 wins, 1 point wins. But they're going into the draw now full of confidence and feeling that they will be able to take either of the teams or any of the teams that are in the A side. So tomorrow, we'll see what happens in the morning. But again, positive. I must admit, John O'Loughlin, again, he's really developed, I think, this year. Went off injured against Fermanagh, and when he went off, that allowed Fermanagh to come back into the game. But he kicked 4 points again today, and that was a powerful performance in midfield.
Equally, we saw with Sligo, Kevin. Pat Flanagan said they're still in it, and the longer they're in it, they'll grow and they'll improve.
Yeah, I think all the sides on that side, we've been making this point all night, recognise there's a chance, there's a gap in the ditch, as it were, and they're going to go for it because they feel they can get to round 4A and take their chances then. But Sligo's performance was excellent. I was down at their defeat to Galway, and they were poor when it mattered. But yesterday, they were excellent when it mattered because they rallied back into a position where it was level pegging. I thought Wicklow would go on and win it from there, but no, on came Sligo with Cohn and Harrison and these guys driving them on to get the 2 winners, and that puts them into the pot. So yes, they have lots of ambition and lots of hope as they face the draw in the morning.
Yeah, good performance too from Wicklow, must be said. Well, now we head to Clones for the replay of that Ulster semi-final between the defending champions Monaghan and Armagh. Let's join Adrian Eames.
Having battled back to earn a replay, Paul Grimley promptly recalled Brendan Donaghy and Kieran Toner, who missed last week's game through suspension following the skirmish before the Cavan match a few weeks ago. Tony Kernan is preferred in place of Ethan Rafferty, but there's no starting role for Aaron Kernan. Monaghan are bidding to make it through to successive Ulster finals for the first time since 1944. Paul Finlay has been drafted into the starting 15. Safe to say, though, he will not feature in the full-back line, while Stephen Gallagly gets the nod in the half-forward line, with Chris McGuinness dropping to the bench. Philip McAvoy just trying to survey and see what's available in terms of his kick-out options. It's rather disappointing. This is Darren Hughes. And Hughes now with some space, and he gets his shot away. And is this going to be Monaghan's opening score of the afternoon? It is. And it's a quality score as well from Darren Hughes from Scottstown. Loves to get forward. Plenty of space opened up for Darren Hughes, and he pulled the trigger. And that's a delightful score for Monaghan. Paul Finlay. Referee playing an advantage here for Monaghan. It'll break for Darren Hughes, and Hughes has a goal, and Darren Hughes has got his second point of the afternoon. Splendid stuff. And the Monaghan supporters rejoicing. Monaghan lead by 2 points to 1. Armagh, though, have possession. This is Aidan Forker. And Forker allowed to carry the ball some distance, and the space opens up in front of Aidan Forker. Sending it in now, offload by Jamie Clark, who's seen very little of the ball. Might run kindly here for Aidan Forker. Oh, what a chance that is, and it's in! Aaron Findon with the follow-up. And Armagh have got a goal in the 12th minute in Clones. And what a tonic that is for Armagh so early in the game. Paul Finlay, the vastly experienced Paul Finlay to Dick Clerkin, and there was a pretty robust challenge on Aaron Findon, fending off his man. Now Conor McManus from Clontibret gets the return ball. McManus from a tight angle. Has he managed to squeeze this one in and over? He has. Great score from Conor McManus from Monaghan. And that has got the crowd going in Clones. Excellent point. And here's Vinnie Corey, the 30-year-old, sending it forward now. Good ball from Corey for Conor McManus. McManus away from two Armagh players, and it's opening up for Conor McManus, and that's a superb score from their go-to man, Conor McManus. Received possession, and then excellent with the finish. And Monaghan motoring very nicely indeed. Fine score from Conor McManus, and they extend their lead. Kieran Hughes sending it forward. Could be a chance of a goal here for Monaghan. It's the main man again, Conor McManus. Brilliant finish from Conor McManus. And Philip McAvoy is getting nowhere near that one. This is Dick Clerkin trying to ride one challenge, manages to slip it back to Paul Finlay. And Finlay out to Dermot Malone. And Malone plays it forward now for Stephen Gallagly. And Gallagly takes aim, fires, and gets his point. Brilliant from Monaghan, and in particular from Stephen Gallagly. Kevin Dias slipping it on for Kieran McKeever. Armagh need their big players to step up at this moment in time. This is Jamie Clark trying to squeeze through. Still Jamie Clark yet to get on the score sheet. Back with Eugene McVerry. McVerry twisting and turning and away from Dermot Malone. And he'll have a go. And that's a good hit, is it? Yes, it is. White flag is raised. Eugene McVerry from Mullabone. So both managers using the opportunity at half-time to make changes as the ball is sent forward by Dermot Malone. And here is Chris McGuinness, right on at the start of the second half and right on the money. Chris McGuinness with a sweet point. Brilliantly won by Monaghan from the kick out, and Clerkin with the offload to Dermot Malone. Thought about the shot, but instead slips the pass to Christopher McGuinness, and Dermot Malone cutting inside, and Malone knocks it in and over the bar. Well worked score involving Dermot Malone and Chris McGuinness, and it results in a fine point for Monaghan. There's still plenty of time for Armagh, but they need to reel off a few scores. This is Stephen Campbell being pursued by Fintan Kelly. Plays it forward now for Jamie Clark, and Clark sends that one over the bar. Jamie Clark finally gets his first point of the afternoon. So the scores coming thick and fast in the second half. Aaron Findon fouled, and the free kick was awarded, and again Armagh have a coughed up possession, and away they go, Monaghan with Darren Hughes, and it's Hughes on the drive, lays it off for Clerkin. Oh yes, what a score from Monaghan. Dick Clerkin, who made his debut back in 1999 against Cavan in a National Football League game, and what an ovation for that score. As Desi Moan once again, he's hungry for more scores. And the referee has blown the whistle, and there was a challenge on Desi Moan. Begging from about 50 metres out from goal. Precious little breeze, but I'm afraid he's off target, but it might work out in the end for Monaghan. It's back, and it's sent over the bar by Paul Finlay. Excellent point from Paul Finlay for Monaghan. Cody McKenna. Monaghan just enjoying possession of the ball at the moment, and Dermot Malone away from Murray. Checks back and sends it to Conor McManus, and McManus has a strike at goal. Well, what a point that is from Conor McManus. Well, they took their time about it, but their patience was rewarded. with this fine point from Conor McManus.
Number 17, Roy Gurgan, replaces number 24, Aidan Watt.
Now Tony Kernan gives that one plenty of air, and Jamie Clark is off in pursuit. Did really well to keep it in play, and Jamie Clark blazes it over the crossbar. Might well have been a goal on for Jamie Clark, but he drove it high over the crossbar. Oh, brilliant pick up by Dermot Malone. And still Dermot Malone being hotly pursued by Aaron Findon. And he gets a sideline ball. And Dermot Malone was grasped by the neck there by Aaron Findon. So Conor McManus, whoa! Conor McManus is on song this afternoon. Well, he got his goal in the first half, but he has hit some quality scores for Monaghan. Armagh going cross field. They find Jamie Clark. They're looking for a positive note to end this game. Andy Mallon going forward. He was held up, and it's going to be a free in for Armagh. And Jamie Clark drills that one over the crossbar. Well, he looks a tired and beaten player at this stage. Rory Beggan with a kick out, and the full-time whistle goes at St Tierna's Park in Clones. And Monaghan make no mistake at the second attempt. They have beaten Paul Grimley's Armagh pretty emphatically in the end. Monaghan 118, Armagh 113.
We're delighted obviously to get through to the final. We just felt that last week we didn't probably get to the level of intensity, level of work rate that we wanted. We knew that was the first thing we had to get, and once we got that, we wanted to get obviously the quality of our play better as well. So, we achieved a lot of those things today. At the end of the day, it only gets us through to an Ulster final. So it's going to be a massive challenge for us now to play Donegal. So Donegal have a couple of chances to look at us. But we're delighted to get there.
And here's our confirmation of the Ulster final. It's Monaghan against Donegal, and that's on July 20th, a game to look forward to. Kevin McStay, it has to be said, they were deserving winners. Good performance from Monaghan.
Yeah, much improved performance from last week, and Monaghan set the pace and more or less dictated from start to finish. I won't say comfortable, these games are never comfortable victories, but I was very impressed by the way they went about their business. Platform, keeping their opponents to 5 scores in the first half, and that's the way Monaghan like to do their work. 5 scores in a full half of football, 1-4. Restricting Armagh to that was the platform for me.
And some performance from Conor McManus as well.
Absolutely brilliant. 1-6. We're talking about James. I don't know earlier on, and 10 points been a massive performance, but 1-6 in the context of the opponent and what was at stake, every bit as good as it.
And Dermot, for Armagh, gutsy performance last week, disappointment today. They now face Tyrone next week. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's a different one. That's up in Oma as well. And this 7-day turnaround, we saw it with Wexford. They went out, even though they were at home, they lost today. But, we're looking at an old rivalry there, Armagh-Tyrone. Arguably 2 teams that changed, I think, the face of football back in 2000 and 2002 and 2003. And, Armagh had a big part to play in that. Tyrone went on, but Armagh had a massive part. So we're revisiting this. Yeah. They have a lot of work to do. They have to pick themselves up. But, knowing the proud county that they are, and I know Kieran McGeaney and Paul Grimley from working with them, with Kildare as well, they will pick these lads up and they'll relish going up to Tyrone there.
I'm looking forward to it already. Kevin, the area where you felt Monaghan really improved from the drawn match?
Yeah, it's well known that the half-forward line that Monaghan have is one of the lowest scoring half-forward lines in the country. So they set up with a 2-man full forward line with essentially Conor McManus and Kieran Hughes. And they're looking for contributions from others because they won't score enough, especially on a day when Kieran Hughes wasn't able to make a contribution on the scoreboard. We talked about McManus and he getting his 1-6, but there was great contributions then from the likes of Paul Findlay, who I always felt should be a starter because he scores, he's accurate. So they get a contribution from their keeper most weeks, we know that already. Darren Hughes rose in, Dick Clerkin rose in, Dermot Malone rose in, and that's the total now being accumulated that allows this setup to flourish. But on the day when they don't make the contribution, as in last week and other weeks, that's why they're one of the lowest scoring half-hour lines in the country, which shouldn't surprise us, Des, because the gap between their full forward line and their half-forward line, there's a couple of miles of a gap between them. So that's where their problem is. But today they rectified it. That's why they won.
And interesting, you're pointing out that Armagh have a similar setup. Armagh,
I think, set up exactly the same way. Now, obviously, different personnel, but inside you have Campbell and Clark, Forker, Dias, Kernan and McVerry play along the 50, and then you have Toner and Findon. And the idea is that they get the ball in towards Campbell and Clark. And last week, you know, it was Dias, it was Campbell, and it was Jamie Clark that performed. Today, it was only Jamie Clark. And unfortunately, he didn't score in the first half, but he did score in the second half. But, you know, apart from Eugene McVerry and Tony Kernan, who got a point from play as well, and the midfielder, Aaron Findon, who got a good goal to start, no other forward scored. So if you are going to set up in that type